Starting things off here hot with Waxing On with RJ. Rich Jackson, master chef at work here, while he drinks a customary beer.
Yeah, there's going to be lots of those in these videos.
Hell yeah. How's it going, sir?
Going good.
So we wanted to definitely hand off the ATI podcast baton to Ridge, and this is kind of something that we knew Ridge was in Ridge's wheelhouse and wanted him to curate and kind of add some content, but have his own independence to do things here. So,
Right.
And we're going to go today. We had a very special edition with 2 selections, which we'll get into here in a moment. But kind of let's talk about the idea of Waxing On, RJ, if somebody's just seeing this for the first time, kind of what the intent is.
Ridge. Yeah, I mean, the intent is basically just exposing people to new music that they wouldn't even know about. Also, trying to, help people into, getting back into physical forms of music. Because, physical forms of music is amazing. And streaming is killing all of that joy. Just getting a record, getting a tape, getting a CD, and just opening it up. And it's just an experience. It's awesome. I think it's awesome. A lot of people probably don't care. It's whatever. But basically just bring light to that and just the different sounds, the analog sounds.
Right.
Compared to streaming it and things like that. Nobody, maybe a few people will start buying physical media, but a lot of people are just going to stick to streaming. It's cheap.
Sure.
Convenient. You can discover so much stuff, but I just feel like it's lost. You listen to an album, you put it on, and unless you want to get up and change the song or fast forward it, it's a pain in the ass. You're just going to sit there and listen to it all, and you're just going to enjoy all of it, what the artist put into it. And that's something that I've made myself do for the past 2 years, is just really, really listen to a whole album, because that's how they wrote it. That's the way you're supposed to listen to it. I mean, some people don't. I understand that. And I still do. I get on Spotify and listen to all the different kinds of playlists and different things like that. But
sure,
they're curated for me.
Right.
But that's just another way of just finding more music and things like that. But yeah, so
I hearken it back to back in the day. We used to be avid comic collectors. It's something we did in our extreme youth, but then we got back into our late teenage years, and we were kind of enamored with the ritual of it. Going into the store, touching the comics, looking at the artwork, picking out what we liked. The same thing translates to music. Comics have even went digital too. Yeah, there you go.
I'm just getting back into that.
But the same things happen with music too. And people don't make the same amount of money, as far as the artists are concerned. Whenever you start talking about these streaming services, Spotify is a necessary evil, but people make pennies. They just make scraps. As far as the artists are concerned, but you have to be on there to get people to listen to you, to get people to discover you, to be on those Discover Weekly playlists or whatever the case is. So, it's just it's a part of the game, and
you got to also to put your record out there. Also, sure. I mean, you got to throw your single out on something digital.
It's a marketing vehicle.
And I mean, I'm a lot of I'll be focusing mostly on just the underground kind of metal scene, death metal scene, but also when I get a good album that's not heavy, I'll put that on there or whatever. But
sure.
Most people aren't going to go straight to Bandcamp to listen to that. They want it on Spotify or Apple. Stuff like that. So I mean, you got to utilize those, but
absolutely. And as we talked about on
just
the
get
ATI
back
podcast,
into the physical
Bandcamp. The Bandcamp is one of the more better, digital platforms for bands, because not only can you just listen to their music there, but you can purchase directly from the artist. You can purchase merch, so on and so forth. So Bandcamp is always an avenue that we try to encourage people to go towards. So. Let's talk about the first band that you have on the list this week, Ridge. Is that going to be Tomb Sentinel?
It's going to be Tomb Sentinel. Basically, Tomb Sentinel. This is Tomb Sentinel Perpetual Vice. First time we're losing shit. I've got the Cardinals game on, so I should probably turn that off, but I don't want to. It's 1-run lead. But uh, yeah, it's put out in Life After Death Records. Uh, Clear Red Tape, blah blah blah.
Okay.
Nobody. I think this stuff's really cool, but a lot
Yeah.
of people probably don't give two shits. But I don't know. I think it's cool.
So you've been jamming that one on tape
Yeah,
specifically?
yeah. This came out April 22nd, 2022. Uh, I just got this maybe 2 weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So
Okay.
it was 2 weeks ago. The first time I listened to it, I played it like 4 times in a row. It was that
Hell yeah.
good. And I mean, they label it. They're like an Ohio death metal band.
Mm-hmm.
They label it as just pretty much like death metal, but to me, it's just like straight up like in your face. It's not doing anything new. It's aggressive, hardcore with like death metal undertones or whatever. That's
Mm-hmm.
just my opinion on it, but it is dope. I mean, the one thing I will say is that actually on tape it sounds better than it does on
Digitally.
Spotify, Bandcamp,
Yeah.
anything like that, like digitally, which is just another analog
Right.
thing. But I mean, like the J card's pretty
Right.
cool. Artwork's really awesome. If I can, there's that glare.
That's another thing too that folks don't get a chance to often if they're
There's
streaming
also,
stuff is to get into the artwork
yeah.
aspect of things.
Also, if you really want to check out some dope ass like records, CDs, tapes, Eric over at Life After Death rules, and he puts out just like constant stuff. Like he just got like a big shipment of like Ukrainian black metal that he's selling.
Hell yeah, dude.
So that's like pretty fucking sweet. And I don't know if there's like a proceed thing going on, but it'd be cool. But like first time I actually heard about these guys, they came up. I'm trying to think, it's either like a story or it came up on Spotify, and it was a song called Cop Compost, and I was just like, oh hell
Oh.
yeah, that's what I want. Like that just drew
There you
me
go.
in. Like it was just
There
like
you go.
everything going on, like how shitty the world is. I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's
There
that's
you go.
that's that's sweet. But it's just,
Hell
I
yeah,
mean,
dude.
they deliver it just with like gut punching breakdowns, like the distortions, just like the straight up like Swedish like chainsaw like distortion
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I mean, I would say it's like if you're wanting to get into like Tomb Sentinel, it's kind of similar around like bands like Gate Creeper, Harm's Way, Genocide Pact, or even like
Okay.
Terminal Nation, like hardcore bands that are like infusing death metal into their sound.
Yeah.
But
How
that's
did
just
you
me.
come to find out about Tomb Sentinel specifically?
Uh, it was off that Spotify thing. Like I was just like
Okay.
Cop Compost, and I was just like, oh hell yeah. And then like Life After Death had been like hinting or like releasing like teasers to the Tomb Sentinel record, and I think I actually like I believe the first single was released like a year like in 2021 or something like that. And it took like
Okay.
so long for the tape to come out, and it's only like a four
Sure.
track tape. I mean, the first track, Fated, Fatality, Cop Compose, Perpetual Vice, and then Sway Tricker's Homicide. I mean, that's all it was. They released like
Yeah.
two singles, and then you had to wait like a year to get the tape or something like that. I could
Well,
be
it sounds like it was
wrong.
worth the wait.
It was. It was
Considering
dope.
you've been running it nonstop for 2 weeks, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been
And that's
listening to
another
this a
thing
lot. It's
with
good.
tape, and we've talked about it on the ATI podcast. Is that's another analog experience, and Pam was and I were having some discussions with my wife today, and we were talking about analog music, how it just has an energy to it. Anytime you can get that experience, whether it's vinyl tape, that is as close to a live experience for
Yeah.
me. And listen to things digitally, things are so compressed and you know studiofied, if you will, for kind of layman's terms, like people often identified. But it just takes a lot of the energy out of it,
Right.
and especially with bands like we're talking about today, like Tomb Sentinel. You know, the energy is paramount in the music
Mm.
to be felt, heard, and otherwise.
I feel like that's their. I mean, I don't know. I can't be in their head to find out like if that's they think they're doing something original, but I feel like it's more just like intensity based. Like it's just
Yeah.
like it, just all the shit that's going on. Turn off everything in your head and get primitive. Like
Yeah.
that's the way
There's there's nothing wrong with that for sure.
I. No,
So
but
Tomb
I mean like
Sentinel,
even
Ohio death metal.
it, good old Ohio death metal. They've got a ton of bands in Ohio, like good death metal bands in Ohio.
It's that Ohio Valley, that deep depression that it puts you
Right? Like I don't like they had a fest
in.
in like Ohio, and I was like trying to figure out how to go to it. Like how can I get there? And then like gas prices went up to like four something, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go to Ohio. Like I can't do it.
God, I've been having fantasies about road tripping out to see Cave In Louisville, Kentucky. I even Google mapped the trip. It's 5 hours. And I was like, oh, I could get a hotel room. And I think Author and Punisher's opening for him on that show. It's not one of the ones that Quicksand's opening for him, but yeah.
When is
If it had
this?
been one of the Quicksand one, it'd be great.
When is
Here
this?
it's like a week or two.
Ah, damn
It's
it.
like on a Friday. Yeah.
Ah, I was gonna say if this was like September, October, man, let's do it. Like,
No. Dude, there's so much shit going on in September and October. We're going to see Nothing and Boris,
yeah,
of
which is
course.
gonna be
I'm
sweet.
going to see Descendants, and then there's
I'm
another
probably
show
gonna
I'm
go
forgetting
on that
about.
one, maybe.
Yeah,
My brother gets a ticket. I don't know.
Descendants is one of those bands that I've come to appreciate in my older years, especially watching kind of those trash theory videos that I've talked to you about in the past.
Yeah.
And I didn't like realize, kind of, I get really fascinated with the history of bands, and then that makes me even more of a fan in many ways. So whenever I kind of saw the trash theory on Milo Goes to College, I was like, oh my god, man, this. Why have I never like listened to this band?
Right.
Giving them due diligence. But enough about the well-known bands like Descendants. We'll get back on waxing RJ here, and it's always a pleasure to wax you, by the way.
I'll
So,
I'll let
what other
anyone
band you
wax
got
me.
locked and
I'll
loaded?
wax anyone. I don't care. But
Who we got next, Reach?
the next band is it's not a new release. I mean, this was released in January 25th, 2021, and it's a band called I got this.
Yeah,
I don't even. Oh no,
Fossilization.
it's the iPad. That's what. Okay, all right, never mind. Okay, maybe if I take it out of the case, that'd be better. Okay, it's a band called Fossilization from. I'm gonna butcher this. Sao Paulo, Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's a two-piece called Fossilization. Rules. The J card is some sick art. I don't know. Again, most people probably don't care. I think this stuff's cool, but it's just stuff that I'm listening to, and I want to tell
Yeah.
people about it, and
Well,
hopefully
I
they
wanted to
will
make one
enjoy it
other point
also.
while you were showing the artwork too.
Mm-hmm.
Is I think I've talked about this on the ATI podcast as well, but you're the person that introduced me to Converge and Converge tattoo on their arm. Oh,
Yeah, and then I
there we
got
go.
look to
There you go.
Kraken. Got two
Yeah,
Converge bags up there.
got that Converge on your Crocs.
I
but
don't. I just have like a
we
beer
should
and a
make that happen
Batman and
though.
a
Get a little
Superman.
Jane Doe and
And Jane
something
Doe
else.
Croc Charms. They're doing
Yeah,
like
there you
they're doing Undeath and Warforged Croc Charms, which I still want to get,
go.
but
But what attracted me to Converge was I
lost my train
think
of thought.
this is how I remember it
Nope.
anyways. You had a laptop, and I walked up and I saw Jacob Bannon's artwork on the
Yeah.
background,
Okay.
and I was like, "Whoa, dude, what's this artwork on your computer?" And you're like, "Oh, that's Jacob Bannon." And I was like, "Oh," and you're like, "He's in Converge," and I was like, "I gotta check these fuckers out because I obviously was an artist at one time. I guess like actual drawing and stuff, but you told me it was like a lot of graphic design type stuff,
Yeah.
and that's kind of in part why you were doing graphic design stuff in school. And I was like, man, I've really got to check these guys out. So really, what led me to Converge was the artwork.
Yeah.
So like I know as silly as that sounds sometimes, but that's what leads you to comic books too, to get it back to that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Which,
sometimes it just takes that thing initially that draws your attention to them.
right, right. And it
And that's why I
did.
think it's important to show the media cards and stuff like you were.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's one thing that actually drew me into this band was I was just like, was on Bandcamp, just scouring away, just trying to find some bands or whatever. And Transylvanian Records had this band on their page, so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go and listen to this. And it was just like, I mean, like that artwork is just sick.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So I was just like, okay, this is cool. Like, I don't think this is just gonna be like a straight up death metal
No.
band or a doom band. Like, I feel like there's gonna be like some more like just bleak, dark shit. And listen to it, and it was. It was just like straight doom death with just like bleak, dark parts, like no like horizon, like no like happy ending to it at all. Just
Right.
pummeling the whole time, just like tremolo picking the entire like album. Like it rules. And
That's tough, man.
like there is a transition between I believe it's I'm trying to think which track. It's Blythe Cathedral and Caratone or I'm butchering this, but it's the second and third track on the album. But just there's like it's just like building and building and building, and it's just brutal. And then there's like a 5 second like silence, and then it goes into the next track. That's just
Like
pound
there's
you
no
even harder.
resolution.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it rules, and
I
it's
always get off on that.
so satisfying.
When something doesn't resolve itself, it's just
Yeah,
like it builds up tension or whatever the case is, and you're just like waiting for something to happen that never does.
right. And this is it's just a 2 piece out of Sao Paulo,
What's the
Brazil.
instrumentation?
Um, I mean, it's just guitar, bass, drums, vocals. They have a little bit of maybe like some keyboard or something in there,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much it. They do a lot of I mean, because they're from Brazil, so they have a lot of like Brazilian kind of like tribal drumming in a couple tracks. That just
Okay.
like it adds to it, like it makes it a fun listen. It rolls. I don't know. I would recommend this. It at the time when I was trying to find this tape,
Mm-hmm.
it took me forever because they were from. I mean, they're from Brazil, so they only made so many in Brazil. Like I found a couple places where I could actually buy it, but the money trans,
Yeah.
it wasn't working out. So uh, eventually, like Transylvanian Records, like hooked them up, and they're on Transylvanian Records, and they did like a vinyl, which sold out super fast, and I got the tape as soon as they put it up because I was just like, yeah, like I'm gonna be hawk watching this, and
Yeah.
got it, and I'm so glad I got it. Like they did.
Did you stumble upon these guys on a weekly playlist as well, or how'd you find out about these guys?
No,
Fossilization.
it was just off of. I was just looking on Transylvanian Records like Bandcamp
Okay.
and just seeing their artwork, and that like just
Yeah.
drew me in. Like I was just like, this is gonna be cool,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it was. It's one of the best. I mean, like if you like Primitive Man,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna draw you into Primitive Man. Mortiferum, and then like I just don't know. It's just chaos-driven death doom. Like
Hell yeah.
it's got a little bit. I mean, like I wouldn't say like Sepultura, but just kind of like those like Brazilian vibes from Sepultura. Just that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. But I don't know. It rules, and I hope
So you're
everybody
jamming
enjoys
both
it.
on tape, right?
Oh yeah, always on tape.
So that's
Mostly,
the
but
that's the medium for this
yeah,
episode for sure.
yeah. We'll get better. I'll get better at this as we go on.
It's all good, brother. Hey,
First
it's
time
just two dudes having a chat
talking
about
it.
music.
Yeah,
Can't
you
go
should
wrong.
have. Everybody should have seen our like hour-long stint of showing each other our records. Which, if anybody wants to see that, maybe we can do like a.
Yeah, we could maybe do a longer, or just go live on Twitch or
Yeah,
Instagram
just do
Live, and
that.
we can just start sharing shit back and forth.
No,
Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this.
do like OnlyFans, and we can show our feet while we do it.
Oh yeah, get a Patreon going, make a little extra cash.
Do what
Ain't
you
too
gotta
proud to
do.
show some feet for a little cash.
No,
If anybody's out there listening,
everybody could use it right now. The
I got a
feet and
sick
the
hammer
money.
toe if you're into that.
You got a what?
I got some sick hammer toes if you're into that.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you had an extra toe. I was like, how did I
Oh
not
no,
know this?
no, dude. If I did, that'd be well known and well publicized. I'd be exploiting the shit out of it.
Right.
Feel sorry for me. Look at my extra toe.
But I'm gonna be doing this weekly. I will try. I'm really shitty at doing anything because I'm a dad and got kids, and I don't know how you do it, Barrett. You're a fucking superhero. But
we all know the struggle, my man.
I'll be doing
It's a
this. I'll be
balancing act.
hopping on. They won't be super long or anything. It'll just be
Sure.
little.
Well, this is kind of the first one in this format. It was worth taking the
Yeah,
extra time to get
yeah,
people to get a better idea of what's going on, and may not always be two selections too. From my understanding, going forward, you might just have one, but
right.
and there might be a little vinyl mixed in or this or that, and now too with a lot of the delays in manufacturing things like that, that might impact maybe some of your selections too. I would think,
Right. Yeah.
and when things are coming in. So,
Like I
but
don't know, but
solid picks, my man.
solid
You sent
picks.
me the links last night, and I enjoyed what I heard. I plan to do a deeper dive on both of them myself, but
Tomb
check out
Sentinel.
Tomb Sentinel and Fossilization, and we're gonna put some links up too for
Yep.
everybody to
Yeah.
go down the rabbit hole.
Oh, I'll have Bandcamp links. Like just going. I mean, like half of the tapes have went up now, but back in the day it was like $5
Sure.
a piece. Like,
Right.
which is stupid cheap
Right.
for music, and the bands are still profiting a ton off
Sure.
of this, and you're actually helping people
Sure.
most of the time.
And
But
that's really the important thing we want to lean into too, is this physical media, purchasing this stuff. If you like what you hear, what's sending $8 for a tape? I'd say they pretty much range between $8 and $12 in most cases, but
yeah, now
a
they're
one-time
going up.
purchase if you liked it enough, and the band usually makes about a 50% markup on stuff like that, depending on who they go through manufacturing wise.
Mhm.
So, it's something to put in their pocket, especially hard times and certain times like this. Any way we can help each other and help people pursue their passions and so on, like that's kind of the spirit of this too,
Right.
is to bring a light to those, kind of bring a voice to the voiceless perhaps, but let people know about people that have not been heard or seen, maybe that do deserve that 15 minutes of fame or that spotlight in the sun, if
Right.
you will.
Right. Like I'm nobody. I don't have any connections. I'm just some dude from St. Francis County. But if I can get like a couple people like your band, I feel pretty proud about that.
Hell yeah.
And just like it's a hobby.
Hell yeah.
It's a hobby I enjoy, and I want to expose and maybe think more people will enjoy this hobby.
I mean,
But
back whenever we were in our heyday playing, I would have loved anybody taking 3 minutes to talk about our band,
oh
even if
hell
it
yeah,
was, regardless of what the medium was.
yeah, that shit was hard
You
to
know?
come by. I mean, like we had a couple
Oh yeah.
like compilations and stuff we did, but
Yeah.
it wasn't much shit. But I do want to, before we, cut off of here, give a little preview for next week's. Hopefully, I have the other format in because it's a long story. I'll talk about it in that episode. Why I have two formats of the same release, but finally got the new Mall record in. I don't know if anybody knows me, has been
Yeah.
fucking stoked to listen to this, and I've only heard two singles off this record. My brother was trying to get me to listen to it last night, and I was just like, nah, man, I want to wait until the record comes out. And then looked it up and seen it wasn't going to ship till the 21st, so I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm going to listen to the record. The tape was being held up in the mail, and passed out. And then when I woke up this morning, this was on my doorstep. I was just
Hell
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, this is meant to be. I got to listen to that on first time listening to the whole album. I got to
Hell
do it
yeah,
on
dude.
vinyl. It was pretty cool. I don't know.
Well,
Good
Ball
shit
was
worked out.
your first selection for WaxingOn RJ as
It
well,
was like their single.
and I also
Uh,
saw that you got a share from them
yeah,
too on
yeah,
social media
yeah.
on the actual WaxingOn RJ.
They're super cool dudes. Like they played in Springfield, and me and my brother was gonna go. Like they long time ago, they posted about it, and then like I forgot, and then when I seen like another post that they were coming to Springfield, I was like, oh shit, like we need to go. But I was going on vacation, so I couldn't make it. God damn it, which would have been cool. And
Well,
also,
just have to make a trip down there.
yeah, and then also like silly as they are, Body Box was playing in St. Louis when we went on vacation. I was just like, damn it, two cool shows.
Hell yeah.
But everybody just like support music as much as you can. If you can't, give them
Absolutely.
listens. Open your mind, listen to something new every day. That's,
For sure.
I mean, I will go from death metal to Sufjan to Prince, David Bowie, like
Right.
just all kinds of weird stuff.
For sure. Man,
I
gotta
can
open up your
listen
mind.
to like noise, just like hissing noise
Yeah.
for a while. Like there's beauty in everything, and that's just kind of what I want to bring with all of this. So I hope everybody
Hell yeah.
enjoys it. I'll try and keep it a little entertaining and stuff.
Yeah. Show your asshole a little bit. That always goes over well.
If I no, that'll be like Patreon. You got to pay for that.
Yeah. That's an
You got
subscribe
if
up sub.
you want to see those berries, you gotta pay for that.
Darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, my man.
If
And hey,
if anybody's wondering, the Cardinals are leading 5-3 and
hell yeah.
slipping.
Well, the motto of this show is going to be "Show me something real like an ass with some stretch marks." So we're going to keep this train rolling from week to week,
Yep.
and any rub, which we're always talking about rubs and rubbing off,
Well, we're gonna
but
be
any rub
waxing
that
here.
the ATI podcast has given the rub
Oh yeah.
to waxing RJ. See, it's right in the frame. I'm getting
There you go.
it right.
There you go.
So he's getting the rub so he can wax. See, it's the that's the Karate Kid sequel that you guys never saw. All right,
That's right.
rub for the wax. All right, but I think it's been a successful episode, sir, and I'm so happy that you've turned us on to two new artists that I will personally be doing a deep dive more
Yes.
so into.
Seriously. Check out Tomb Sentinel. Check out Fossilization. Like Fossilization, if you're gonna pick one, listen to that band. They're insane. Max
Hell yeah.
Cavalera has been like going on and on about them, which if you don't know Max Cavalera, but
We can't help you.
check them out. Check them out. Like you really need to listen to that album from front to back. Like it's amazing, and they're gonna blow up. I think that's my prediction. But anyways, but yeah, enjoy. Like find something new. Try something out. You never know. Don't
Maybe
get
you listen to
stuck in
some of the
one
stuff
thing.
that Ridge has recommended here too, and maybe it's worth reaching out, interacting with us on social media, and saying, "Hey, this band reminds me of this band." Maybe it's something we haven't heard of. So,
That's
hey,
right.
let's use this as an information exchange,
That's what we're
if
doing
nothing
here.
else.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Just like bring people into the music, and then bring people into the ATI podcast, which rules. It's variety. Like there's so much different variety in the podcast that you can find different things in. Like if you don't agree on one podcast, like there's another one for you.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
it's
you know my
fun.
ADD. I can't do one thing for too long. So that's
That's right. Like yeah, I couldn't do one like straight. I would have trouble on that. Like you gotta have some variety. It's fun.
for
And
sure.
even if it's even like on your episodes, like that's something that like I'm not interested in, it's still fun to listen to. And that's not just because I'm friends with you guys, but
Yeah. Well,
it's enjoyable.
we try
No,
to bring that childlike mindset to it, you know,
yeah. Like
and
I
it's the
finally
curiosity.
finally finished the new Heb episode when you guys were talking with Heb.
Yeah.
That episode ruled. It's fun.
Yeah,
And
not
like,
that I thought it would be bad, but yeah, it has some sneaky surprises in there.
yeah, and it was
Especially
just
some of the punk
cool.
bands he was talking about in St. Louis that were coming up.
Hell yeah! And then that
Yeah,
pink, the pink pit.
yeah,
I automatically went up and looked that
I have
up,
to
and
go
they like
see.
do wild. It's like DJ sets and all different
Yeah,
weird stuff, like
I got to see
punk
a set there.
shows, like,
Somebody.
and it's like right up
Yeah,
Cherokee or something. So I was just like, oh
yeah,
fuck, we need to go and check out the show there sometime.
hell yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that seems like a good time. So until next time, guys, this has been Waxing RJ with the man of the hour, Rich Jackson, Barrett Lewis here, just to help pass,
yeah.
do that thing we talked about earlier.
Pass, 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 pass the.
pass the baton slash
Yeah, yeah, because it wouldn't be
whack on.
torch because we're still all in this.
No, and it's giving you the rub, like I said
Yeah, yeah,
earlier.
yeah. There
Yeah,
we go. There we go.
the ATI rub.
Well, I'll be in here. Follow the ATI podcast. Get on the community if you're on Facebook and stuff like that. That's where I'll be posting the videos to, or wherever. I
And
don't know what they'll. We'll
yeah,
find it. We'll
and
figure it out.
if this is how you're finding out about Waxing on RJ is through the ATI podcast, we do have the Waxing on RJ Instagram account tagged on the ATI podcast Instagram account, but we will also be posting
Yeah.
this stuff on our other social media feeds, Twitter, as well as Facebook.
I'll be
So
posting releases and stuff, different tapes I get in. Like I'm not going to review everything that I get in, but
sure.
I'm just like I can post up some shit. If you guys want to see some cool vinyls, tapes, or whatever, or some dumb shit that I put up, like go for it. But
We're
most
gonna make it happen.
importantly, follow the ATI podcast and listen to every damn episode.
Well, thank you, sir, but this is about you. So we're going to sign off for Waxing on RJ. Thank you all for listening.
Night,
And watching.
everybody.